What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to do a spoiler-free review of a new Netflix found footage film, horror film, by the way, called Incantation. Let's check it out. So Incantation is a Taiwanese found footage film that Netflix picked up as one of their horror movies for this year, which is a good sign. I'm glad to see that they're picking up some interesting titles, especially one like this, which has a lot of buzz going about it. Incantation is a movie that is directed by Kevin Ko, who did The Invitation Only, Doomsday Reverse, and a couple more. It was also written by him and by Che Chang. Now, the story about this is it's kind of weird because they have this sort of like warning that they're giving it because it is a cursed video type movie. It contains a certain amount of risks that you're not supposed to watch it because if you do, all this bad luck will happen for you, etc. But the gist is, and this isn't really spoiling anything for you, a woman lost her child. She had to give up her child because she was going through some mental issues in the past. You find out that she was a paranormal investigator later on, but she had to give up her child. And 6 years later, she finally recovers from this way of thinking and is fully recovered. And they give her the ability to get her child back. And she gets her child. And things start going badly again. Is it her mind? Is it actually something that's happening? And why is the child the important piece in this whole puzzle? Well, that's essentially Incantation for this movie. Now, this is a movie that has been pretty highly raved about in online, which, you're going to find that from time to time, especially when it comes to a Netflix film. If someone's talking highly about it, that means it's going to get a big amount of buzz because this is a movie that dropped worldwide on July 8th for today. And I watched it late last night, and I got to say, I enjoyed it, but not as much as I was expecting. Let's put it that way. Like, this is definitely a higher tier found footage film. Like, they take the time, they have a lot of atmosphere, there's a lot of paced moments in the film. But the thing I think that really kind of ruins this movie in some regards while also being okay in other is it tries to pack in too much, I think, into one movie, and it ends up kind of discombobulating the viewer between different things. Now, it's not that it hasn't been done before, this sort of style, because they're going back to video footage from like before she went crazy, and they're going to the future footage of regular times where shit's going bananas again, and these two pieces keep flip-flopping in and out of the movie. It's almost like you're watching two separate movies in one movie, and it's like they crammed it all in there to try to get like an original sort of idea of a movie. This is a supernatural movie, so you're gonna see a lot of like spooky kind of ghost-like behavior, but it's also a curse movie. So it's kind of no holds barred when it comes to that. There's oftentimes some things that happen to people. Like in the original beginning of the movie, they talk about something that afflicts her and befalls bad luck on everyone else around her, which means, death. And that is highly appealing, that she, just being around other people, is causing misfortune, and then she goes nuts, is pretty interesting in itself. But instead of using that, they kind of focus on this girl, this daughter, who she's trying to bring back into her life. Now, I watched this movie with the original Mandarin language in the movie, with subtitles, English subtitles, because I wanted to make sure that I got the sounds and everything that were included in this movie to make sure that they were authentic, because I wanted to enjoy the movie that way. And for the most part, this was a medium movie where there is a lot of dialogue going on, so you really do kind of have to focus. It's not like you can just look away all the time, but at the same time, there's a lot of atmospheric and awesome sounds going on that you can just kind of like zone out on and go for the ride. But yeah, I enjoyed the story. I thought it was interesting. They have this sort of religious thing going on and cult and like all these other things that are intertwined into this entire big story that feels like two movies in one. I think they could have benefited from just keeping it a little bit more simple, to be honest with you. I think that it was a little overwhelming at times, and maybe they could have just focused on them going there and then what happened afterwards, or in reverse, and so you kind of understand where it's going. And I'm trying to be as non-specific as possible about this movie. I think there is some really good parts in the film that are very scary. The atmosphere does build really well, and the sound design really works very well with this movie. Like, they do a great job on it. But where I think it falls apart is you're going to get a moment of this from in the past, so it kind of removes you from the experience of being in the video camera, and then you're in that experience in the future. So it's almost like it's not happening at that moment. And I think that kind of pulled me out of the picture a little bit. Even though there was some pretty scary atmospheric things that I saw on the screen, it just kind of pulled me out of the moment rather than just letting me saturate in that past for an extended period of time, or in the future for that extended period of time. And I think because it keeps bouncing back and forth is why I had some issues with it. It's like I would get this rush, like on these atmospheric, really dark, kind of spooky moments. The sound design was working and pumping and all working in unison. And I was like, oh yes, more. And then it'd be like, nope, we're going to the future again. And they're kind of going to the store and having fun. And it just it took away that a little bit of that enjoyment. You just want to kind of stay in that moment. You want to feel it and experience it. The scares are there. There definitely are some scares. There's some things that I was like, on, and some things I was like, yeah, that's really cool how they did that. The little girl in this movie does a very good job of being cute and innocent while also having these moments of like really bizarre things that are going on. And that is very important in a movie. They do that very well. But ultimately, I think it just, with it bouncing in and out of the different time periods and then not exactly nailing every single scare that I saw. Not that it needs to, but I think it being broken up so much really kind of took me out of the entire vibe. I've been seeing a lot of films lately, and maybe it's because of this. They will start out, it takes a long time in the beginning to get things started, and then it'll start to build until the whole fucking wall, the flood, just takes over the viewer. And it's like this consistent build. And I think that works really well with a lot of viewers, more than just sporadic things building towards something. And that is a infinitely bigger impact on the viewer. Whereas this one will stop, you'll have to readjust, realize that you're in the past instead of the future, and then the atmosphere is broken up here, and then, it just kind of discombobulated me there a little bit. And I don't know if I'm making sense to you guys. If you've seen the movie, do you feel the same way? Now, a lot of people I've been seeing online are like, wow, this is amazing, the atmosphere is great. They're not wrong. There is some really great atmosphere in here. I just think that I wanted to continue feeling that, and it kind of stripped me away from that a lot of moments. And in those moments, like I said, the scary parts weren't as big of reveals. Yeah, the atmosphere is there and the buildup was there, but the reveals for some of these scares were, a little bit of a letdown in some regards. But again, we're talking about a higher tier movie here, so I'm being a little bit more critical about this found footage than I would be with something that is a little bit lower budget. This is a big budget film, and I've seen other films that are doing similar things like that, like the Korean film, I believe it's a Korean film called The Medium, which if you haven't seen that, it's on Shudder, just came out last year. Build, breaks the wall, fucking crashes on you, and it's memorable in that regard. Is it perfect? No, but it builds and does this thing. See, same thing here, it doesn't do that, and I think The Medium, if you've seen The Medium, it's an ultimately better film than this because of how it's so broken up. I hate to compare it, but they are very similar in a lot of ways. I think the ratio of believability and the, suspension of disbelief had to have a higher suspension of disbelief in this movie versus The Medium, because they do such a bang up job of doing like a documentary in the medium. All in all, I still enjoyed this movie. There are some really good moments in the film. It just breaks it up so much that it really doesn't make it feel like it's building towards something. It's just build, break, build, break, build, break. And that kind of got on my nerves after a little while. But yeah, I would probably give this movie like a 7, maybe a 7.5. I'd have to watch it again to really know. This is one that I really struggled with this morning trying to think about how I wanted to say this to you guys. And I hope to God I'm fucking explaining to you the best I can. All I can say is that if you like atmosphere, it's in the movie. It's how you like that atmosphere served up that may make you a believer, a lover, a fan. Plus, these reveals that you get for the scary moments on those atmospheric builds, are the reveals worth it to you or not? That's really going to be the ultimate decider in this movie. Do I think you should watch it to find out? Absolutely. I still think it's a good movie to watch. I've seen far worse found footage films. Let's be honest. We all have. I think it's fun to watch. There are definitely some creepy things in it. It may just not be the best movie you've ever seen in found footage. I would love to hear what you guys think. Have you seen the movie yet? Are you going to watch it tonight? Have you enjoyed the movie? Do you think it's a 10 out of 10? I've seen some people giving it a 10 out of 10. And if it's theirs, awesome. I'm so fucking happy for them. So yeah, in the end, I was a little disappointed, and that's why the numbers come down, but I still give it a good score. Isn't that a weird thing? Isn't it, internet? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you enjoy these kind of videos where we break down the movie spoiler free, then stick around. We do a lot of other videos too with hauls and stuff like that. So hit the like and subscribe button for more. And thank you guys so much for coming by. And as always, long live the void.